What is up, side hustlers, entrepreneurs, business builders, and dream makers? Welcome to Study Your Side Hustle Podcast, episode 50. I'm so excited to be back in your earbuds once again, as I am every single day of the week. Weekdays only. We're not here on the weekends, but happy Monday, guys. Great to be back with you once again. Before we get into today's episode topic, I have something that I need to address with you, and that is Friday, the day of my birth, last Friday. I did not actually have an episode go out. I planned on it. I told you guys to expect it. It was going to be a solo adventure, and it didn't happen. And so what's going to happen instead to make up for that, because I really like the rhythm of the counts of every Monday being a 5 and every Friday being a 10. This Monday is a 50. That's a 10. That's off kilter, right? What we're going to do to correct that is someday during this week, there are going to be 2 episodes that go out, not just one. And I'm not going to tell you when that is. It's just going to be a surprise. So you're going to have to pay attention to see when you get to double dip and you get to hang out with me twice. All right. So now that I have addressed that and it has the elephant has been addressed, we now are aware that it's there. We can move on with today's topic of discussion. And since it is Monday, that does mean that our topic of today is going to be a marketing Monday, as we like to do with every Monday. I think this is only the 3rd one in a row where we've done that, but we're cruising with it. I'm digging it. So today, Marketing Monday, we're going to talk about something called a USP, a unique selling proposition. This is something that we talk a lot about in marketing, and it's how you can position your business to be truly unique. And it answers the questions of why your ideal prospects should buy from you versus your competitors. What is it that's unique about your company? How do you do things differently than everybody else? And frankly, when it comes to a good USP, you have the sky's the limit. Your creativity dictates how many good USPs you could possibly come up with and what they could possibly be. So I went ahead and I asked ChatGPT if it could make me a list of 50 different types of unique selling propositions. From that list, I narrowed it down to 9 good ones that I want to talk to you about today, and I'm going to give you a couple really common, really bad ones that everybody thinks is a USP, but it is not a USP, and it cannot be a USP. So with that, hopefully you can take from this and you can start thinking about, if you don't have a USP in your business, well, what could it be? If you do have a USP in your business, well, is it good? And are some adjustments necessary or beneficial? Okay. So let's go ahead and just get into it. The list that I have. The first one that ChatGPT gave me that I thought was worth talking about was a price-based USP. So there are effectively 2 ways to do a price-based USP. You can either be the cheapest or you can be the most expensive. If you choose to be average pricing, that's not a USP. There's nothing special about that. That's average, right? So if you're the cheapest, then the danger there is that larger companies can afford to be cheaper because they can afford to operate at a loss for as long as it takes to kill your business. And we see that happen in large companies all the time. We see companies like Apple with giving all the stuff they have on iTunes for free, trying to squeeze out Spotify, things like that. So being on the low end is risky. Being the most expensive is an odd USP because you don't need to boast and brag about being the most expensive, but just by being the most expensive, you're going to find a very specific type of clientele who's very interested in working with you. So being the most expensive is a pretty good USP. Another one that you can have is just a product service based USP. If you've actually built a better mousetrap, then that is something that you can present to people and say, well, we are the only people who do XYZ. And as long as that remains true, that's a pretty cool USP. If you are the only people who do it, then when other people start doing it, your USP can be, we were the first to do it and we're the best at it, right? Like you can still hold that for quite a while until whatever you're doing, that unique thing about you, becomes commonplace. That leads us to the third one, which is super similar, but it's innovation-based USP. It's not building a better mousetrap necessarily. It's getting the same job done differently. This is like Henry Ford when he said, if I would have asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Instead, I built a car. I found a different way to accomplish the same goal. They wanted to get to their destination sooner. Found a way to do that, right? These types of innovation-based USPs are things like Uber, right? It's a different way of conceptualizing the idea of paying for a taxi, right? And that's an approach that you can take if you've really innovated and you've created something new. Let that be your USP. Let the new thing about your business be the thing that you promote. Then you can have a convenience-based USP. this is something that is also the case with things like Uber and DoorDash. That's convenient to not even have to leave my house to get food, right? But again, they weren't the first people to ever do that, right? Because you could have ordered pizza and you can order takeout and you can have things delivered before. They just made it even more convenient. They put it on an app for us. We don't have to talk to people. People in like Western society are very happy to pay for convenience. So let that be your USB, right? Similarly, you can have a speed-based USB. We get it done for you faster. Where everybody else takes 2 weeks, we can get it done for you in 3 days. That's Amazon with their shipping, right? Amazon's USP was their 2-day shipping. So that's an approach you can take to a USP. Something else you can do that's really, if you can do this and you're in a space where it makes sense, a customization or personalization based USP. What makes your phone cases different than everybody else who sells phone cases? Well, the thing that we do that's really special is we let you customize it. So this phone case is professionally done and high quality, and it does all the things you want out of a phone case, and it's completely unique to you. That can do it. That leads us to kind of that fits in the realm of an exclusivity based USB. I have a watch, it's downstairs, otherwise I'd be holding up right now. I have a watch that I have because it's a prototype watch. It's a nice watch, but the real reason that I decided to buy it was because it's a Levion watch, and it was a prototype on a line, and they chose not to mass produce that line, which makes it one of a kind, right? And so I bought it because of the exclusivity. Then there's the classics. Everybody does this. These are things that you can do to stack on other things we've already mentioned. So when you stack, there's levels to USPs, right? You can have 8 USPs technically. And that's just like guarantees and warranties, things like that. 30-day money back guarantee, 60-day money back guarantee, lifetime limited warranty, things like that are USPs that work specifically in the realm of risk reversal, right? Now, when the entire industry does it, it's no longer a USP. But if nobody does it, then that guarantee or warranty can be a USP. Before we get to the last USP that I want to talk about, that I'm going to give you 2 personal examples of that I think are brilliant, let me talk real quickly about some bad USPs. Everybody thinks these are USPs, but they're not. Trust and reliability. Everyone thinks that's a USP. In some industries, maybe it is, but by and large, trust and reliability is expected minimum. It's not a USP. It's not only that everybody does it, it's that it's the expected minimum. And if it's the only thing that you can say about your company, then the only thing that you can say about your company is, we meet your bare minimum expectations. That's not exciting at all. For the same reason, quality-based USPs are almost never a good USP. I say almost never because there are exceptions. If the way that your quality-based USP works is, well, the quality of our phone case is so great that you can drop your phone off the Empire State Building without damaging it, okay, that's a great USP, right? But most of the time, quality service is, again, the bare minimum. That's the minimum that I expect when I work with somebody. And being able to say that you meet the bare minimum qualifications, and if that's the best thing that you can say about your company, that means your company sucks. That's what that means. If the best thing that you have to say about it is we meet the bare minimum, I'm sorry, that's not a company I want to work with. I want to work with a company that's exceptional. So those are some bad USPs. Now, the last USP that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give you 2 examples of. I think this is really cool. Social responsibility based USP. Social responsibility. So I'm going to give you 2 examples of how you can implement this. And this is a space that I think is really creative and exciting. So one is in my business. When I work directly with when I work directly with Christian organizations, which is one of my primary target market right there for my services, 10% of all profits that I make working with Christian organizations goes towards a scholarship that pays for students who otherwise couldn't to be able to go to private Christian schools. Okay. So that is a social responsibility based USP, and it's really special, and it connects really well with that target market. Here's another one. I'm setting this up with a client of mine right now where we are developing a scholarship where but one who's in their ideal client range who meets certain parameters, this scholarship allows them to get a very notable, you could call it a very noticeable discount on all of their services. And so they're the types of things, and I'm intentionally disguising this because this is just currently being developed. Literally, we had the first conversation about it today. So I'm trying to disguise it, kind of create anonymity and protection around it. But we're developing a scholarship fund so that clients can get this kind of work if they meet these qualifications of the scholarship. So those are two really cool ways. Like, just imagine like if you had a scholarship for being a U.S. veteran, those types of things, disability type scholarships, those types of things are the kinds of things that we're developing. So with that being said, those are all amazing USPs, but really it's how creative you can be. What's going to be your differentiation? Maybe it's as simple as, you know what? 10% of all the profit that I make is going to go towards this charity. That's my USP, right? That's something nobody else does. Makes it unique. And it makes people feel good about working with me, right? So the sky's the limit, guys. But I want you to earnestly think about what your USP is. If you don't have one, develop one. If you do have one, does it need revised? That's all I have for you guys today. Or maybe not, because maybe the bonus episode comes out today. You don't know. But at the very least, that's all I have for you this episode. Love you so much. Talk to you next episode. Love you guys. God bless.